Anyone want to share a New Year's resolution they made this year?
Quit smoking.
Quit, stop smoking. Yeah, I feel a song coming on. 5, 4, 3, stop smoking. Okay, God, that seems like 100 years ago. Yeah, I have a huge list of resolutions. Huge. It's my biggest one yet. It's going to become my daily chore list. Really, seriously. So far, I've done 1.5% of my list each day of the new year, which is a hell of a lot more than I did on that list last year. Let's just hope when I get around to stop torturing small animals, I make sure no one ever found out I did it. Oh, my bad. You know, I saw someone post on the internet everything new they did in the last decade. In the last decade, and the list was amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean, really amazing stuff like food they tasted that they never had, learned how to dance flamenco, and ride a particular type of horse or pony thing I've never heard of before. But it's fascinating, you know, and things like, you know, having a short story published, or I don't know, their first snow off. It was really interesting, and I was really mad because I didn't copy that, you know, like, and say, I'm going to do the same thing with my end of decade. So I thought I would do it tonight. I thought I would just indulge myself for the next hour and just talk about myself all night and see where it leads. That's not really true. But I will tell you that in 2001, I did not have this ministry. So everything I've done has been in the last decade. And when I thought of that, I went, you know, wow, that's a lot of work. A lot of work. And I've lost 90% of my collected stuff that you put on your computer. Like my computer scrapbook of my last decade. I lost it all this time last year. And just what I was able to salvage from going through the internet and asking people to mail me pictures and going to my webmaster and stuff, I have like 1,000 pictures from, you know, this ministry. And I look at these pictures, I don't recognize this guy at all. I go from one picture to the other, I go, my gosh, I mean, I don't even know that person. And so much has happened. I just put out my 11th record on Christmas, and that's my 11th studio record. There's like 6 or 7 live records, compilation things, and other stuff I'll never admit to floating around. And there's been so much output. There's been so much output. There's been so much stuff. And I said, yeah, I really should have made a list. I really should have made a list. And to some it's going to sound like bragging, but the truth is it's giving glory to the Lord and taking a moment to acknowledge all that He's done in our lives. And with that, I mean, I really just want to encourage everyone. I wish I had thought of this before the New Year's, but I think everyone, it's a really good idea to sit down and make a list from the last 10 years. The last decade. It's fascinating. Also, if you make the other kind of list from the last 10 years, you can see all the awful things that happened too. But when I read this, you know, that someone else wrote, I thought it was really inspiring, and it made me really think about. I've come to some New Year's revelations this year that, and I want to say for the record, if you run back and look at my notes in my dressing room, this was not what I was going to talk on tonight. I really actually, the notes on my arms. See, I was going to do the no excuse law from Leviticus 4 tonight, and that's, I guess, next week if I get around to it. Or I'll just like sit with my BlackBerry and film my own sermon when I get home tonight and post it on the internet. But I had some New Year's revelations, and I feel very compelled to share them. See, I think I don't get interviewed enough. You know, the New Times just did something about me, God bless them, and they did do a quickie interview. And it's weird with, you know, sorry, no offense, Leslie, it's weird what they picked from the interview to include in the article. Not bad weird, it's just, it's interesting peculiar, different, because I know all the stuff that I said, and I love the article. I read the article. It's this big. We can still call it an article, right? The feature, the spread. I loved this article. I read it pretending like I wasn't me, and my response was, oh, that person sounds really cool and trippy. You know, I'm really interested in what they're doing, and I had this revelation that I had weathered a long period of trial and error in my ministry. Meaning, I have trials and everyone else makes errors. Because there's no point in art to treat anything as a mistake. There's no point. There's no point to go back on things you're done with and say, I hate what I did, I wish I hadn't done it, you know. There's stuff, like I said all along, there's stuff I'll never do again. There's songs I'll never perform live. And it's funny because I personally think Marky Mark was over the top, but I don't know. Every once in a while I tell people, you know, go check out Marky Mark on the internet. It's pretty funny stuff. And, you know, and now when Marky Mark, you know, wins an Oscar this year, I might have a viral hit again. So you never know. You never know. I mean, you never know. It's all timing, I guess. But one of the revelations that I had was that last year was about representing. That everything about what I did was about me learning that my role in Christianity, meaning my role in life, is about representing. And so much of churchianity is about your Christian example, meaning you act like you don't like anything that the world likes, you dress in a way that makes sure people know you're a Christian, you wear dangly stuff to remind people, you have bumper stickers, you say the right things, you vote for the right people, then that's the example of Christianity. And I'm talking about something that has nothing to do with that, because I am obviously the opposite of that. I'm wearing crosses though. But I'm the opposite of that. I'm the antithesis of that. Someone's going to write and say, you know, you're the antichrist of that. But I may be the anti-Christianity of that in that I have found my small little place in the universe to represent Christ. Meaning, I already know what you're going to say, don't bother writing it. Meaning not, this is a great representative of what Jesus must be like, but representing my testimony, sharing my testimony, standing on my ground as me, and saying, this is who I know to be Christ. This is who I know to be God. And God's really funny, because I think it would be a really good exercise for all Christendom to have to wear something they'd be utterly humiliated by wearing, like pants. What's that about? No, but serious, you know, I mean, seriously, be put out of their comfort zone and have to find a way to relate to humanity outside of their shell, outside of their conformity, outside of their culture, outside of, you know, just their comfort. And it's no criticism for the norms. I'm just not one of them. I've never been one of them. I've never been a norm. I can't help it. And being not a norm is very normal for me. Very normal. And the more normal I try to become or appear, the more uncomfortable in my skin I become. And I think it's a safe statement if we all turned our backs to one another and we didn't see what people look like. If I said, without people looking at me, if a person feels uncomfortable in their own skin, they're going to have a real struggle sharing the gospel. Because if a person feels uncomfortable in their own skin, they're going to feel uncomfortable public speaking, they're going to feel uncomfortable taking a test, they're going to feel uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying, whatever they have to do. You know, I've had, you know, a lifetime of acting classes, and one of the worst things an acting teacher will make a student do is walk across the room in front of everybody and let everybody watch how a person walks. There's nothing more uncomfortable than walking in front of a bunch of people when they're watching you walk. I guess eating for some, but you're sitting, hopefully, I mean, you're eating. You can put your hand, you know what I mean? You can do stuff. But you just, to get from a door to a place in the room, when a room full of people just watch in silence, could be one of the most uncomfortable things in the world. And I was the worst. I don't think I know how to walk. I've never been more aware of how awkward I am than when I had to walk in front of a room full of actors. And I will not tell you what the exercise went to and what the outcome was, because that would put me in a very vulnerable place, and that ain't my thing. But I will say, if you ever want to find out everything you feel about yourself, ask people to stare at you while you walk across the room. We have built Christianity on safety. And now with the internet generation, now we're even safer. We can fire off our opinions, our scriptures, our sermons, and we don't have to face anyone. We don't have to be uncomfortable. And God, in 2010, took me and said, your comfort not only doesn't matter, it no longer exists. Because your comfort relies on your perception, on who people think you should be. And that is the most useless perception you can have as a servant of God. That the most powerful place you can be is recognizing that God is your validator, and that it's already been done before you were born. That when Christ lived and died for us, he validated every one of us. So there's nothing we can do to win him over. Therefore, there's nothing we need to do to win him over. We don't have to perform any particular act or function or be any particular person to please God. Now, he showed me through the course of the last year especially that my call is to be on at all times. Not on at all times, but to be alert and awake and aware that I'm representing, that everyone who knows me knows what I do and what I stand for. Which is ironic, because I can't tell you how many people asked me this year, and I'm a little confused, do you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah? I thought that was really funny. I was like, wow. I guess I'm not representing as much as I think. But my job is to represent my testimony. My job is to be on call for what is needed, but not to necessarily be responsible for your complete Christian education. You and them and the world at large, I mean. You can only do so much. You can only be so much. And it's in the minutia in ministry where people's lives change. It's the one-on-one where you just hand them something from God where their lives change. And it's piece by piece by piece that eventually a person's life is so touched that they're willing to accept Christ. And that's been my job. And and God said you cannot hide. You cannot hide. You can't hide in the comfort of street clothes, and you can't hide in the comfort of performance clothes. You can't hide behind the computer. You can't hide behind a camera. You can't hide. That whatever phase you're in, whatever stage you're in, and whatever Paisley you are at any given time of day, you are representing. And your words matter, your actions matter, and your testimony matters, and you have to treat everyone who comes into your life like they're with their arms out asking to receive from you, whether they are or aren't.